Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. Licensed lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island Licensed Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties there. Welcome to Sports Talk with RJ. I'm Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And last night was the All-Star game in Major League Baseball. The National League beat the American League 3-2 on an Elias Diaz home run in the eighth inning off Felix Bautista. So the National League won that game. And really quick thought, we'll give our quick thoughts on the All-Star game and we'll give our quick thoughts on the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby. And the Home Run Derby for me, it was pretty much the show was Julio Rodriguez, 41 home runs in the first round. Kind of got tired in the second round. We know Vlad Guerrero won it, but I think we're all going to remember the round that Julio Rodriguez had. And then for the All-Star game, typical All-Star game, low-scoring game. But in the end, it was Elias Diaz with that 2-run home run for the National League. The National League won their first All-Star game 3-2. First All-Star game win since the 2012 season.
Yeah, another low-scoring game last night. Typical, usual. Kind of Batista left the fastball right there, right down the middle, and Diaz did not miss it. So, it's last night's a good game. It was a good game. They see a little bit more run, but Diaz kind of somebody that. I don't think before the game you thought was going to have a huge moment in that game, but ended up having it. The Home Run Derby, Julio Rodriguez, the 41 home runs right there in the first round was really, really impressive. Just kind of felt like he just ran out of gas. It kind of feels like since this new format, since they've kind of changed it, one of these guys goes off, has a huge first round. It's like they just don't have enough energy for the next couple of rounds. And that kind of seemed what happened there with Rodriguez. So, glad he won it. But the performance Rodriguez had in front of his hometown crowd was pretty impressive. I know Rutschman had a good one too in his first showing. Luis Robert looked good in the first round, and then I know maybe that groin did kind of affect him there in the second round because you could totally see he just had nothing left. So home run derby is always entertaining. All-Star games usually pretty entertaining as well. And good game last night. It went down the wires. Ramirez had a chance for a game tying one, and in the game winning run was on first base. So National League found a way to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Julio Rodriguez make that last at bat. That was really, really nice. It was he walked, but it was nice to see him have that last at bat. And yeah, the National League, they were able to pull it out. It was a good ending, but typical All-Star game, very, very low scoring, not that entertaining. But still, it was good to at least watch something when there was nothing on last night.
Yeah, there wasn't much. They watched some of the summer league, so just because there was a bunch of UConn guys playing. But yeah,
Wemby didn't play last night. That was the thing. Wemby didn't play.
No, he didn't. No, Jackson played. Hawkins, Bognut, and Sonogo played. So yeah, I was going back and forth between all of that last night. But yeah, there's wasn't much on. But yeah, it's always a fun game, and it's a very quiet sport week. So yeah, it's the only All-Star game I really watch because there's nothing else on.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other All-Star games, the NBA is unwatchable until the end because I like how they play to a certain number now. Like the NBA is unwatchable until the end. The MLB, yes, it is more watchable, but it's still not that watchable. And the Pro Bowl is now turned into a joke. Now it's flag football. Yeah. So I mean, All-Star games are not great, but it was nice to see something last night.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was, and it's always fun seeing all those stars, on the field together, and good crowd, so yeah, it's good. Yeah. The NBA one, I don't watch. Pro Bowl, I can't watch. The hockey one's interesting, with the new, kind of divisions, round robin kind of divisions, but I still don't know. I still don't really get into that either. So yeah, it's like the only one that, the only one I would seems, I tune in for.
Yeah, definitely. Now we are going to go to our midseason awards, and we're assuming that we both have Shohei Ohtani as the AL MVP. So the big question is have we ever seen a player like Shohei Ohtani who's had a really really good season for the great year for the Angels, 32 home runs, 71 RBIs? Have we ever seen a player quite like Shohei Ohtani throughout his pretty much our lifetime in baseball? And I don't think we've seen one like Babe Ruth, the guy that could pitch to a 3 ERA and can hit the way he can. I've never seen a player like him.
No, I completely agree. And, and like when Babe got to the Yankees, he didn't pitch much either, back in the day. So what Ohtani's doing, it's just so impressive. And yeah, it's something that we're probably never going to see again. He's a complete unicorn. It's so impressive to watch him, night in and night out. Again, hopefully the Angels could somehow find a way to sneak in the playoffs because it'd be fun to watch him. Now I know next year he's probably gonna be a Dodger uniform, and we'll see him in we'll see him moving forward in every October. But yeah, there's no doubt that Shohei Ohtani's the American League MVP. It's a runaway, and there's some sports books now that just they took that off the board because it's not even worth betting at this point. Because it's pretty much over. Shohei's gonna win that thing.
No, oh yeah, absolutely. He's definitely going to win it. There's no doubt about it. There's no one, we've never seen anyone that has been as dominant as Shohei Ohtani. There's no way he's not going to win it this year, and he deserves to win it. Let's be honest, he deserves to win it. Yeah, Garcia's had a really good year for the Rangers, but he's not doing what Ohtani's been doing. We've never seen what Ohtani's going to be. We've never seen anyone do what Ohtani's been doing right now. But the big question is if the Angels are way out of it, they've lost 5 in a row. Mike Trout's out for probably another 2 months. Should the Angels trade Ohtani at the trade deadline if they are out of it? That is the big question, and I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because you need to get value for this guy. You need to get value for Shohei Ohtani if you get rid of him because they're more than likely not going to resign. They're more than likely not going to resign there because the Angels are not going to pay him what he wants. I mean, his floor is like $600 million. That's his floor. So, and like $60 million a year. So the Angels are not going to re-sign him. So if you're the Angels, instead of just losing him to free agency, why not? Why not just move on from him at the trade deadline and start your rebuild? Why not? Why not do it?
You can't trade one of the greatest baseball players of all time. You can't. You're just not going to get the value back that you need.
Listen, I know you're not going to get the value back, but listen, as great as Shohei Ohtani is, Does he mean as much as Patrick Mahomes or Nikola Jokic does? No. No baseball player means as much. Even him, who can pitch and he can hit. He just doesn't mean as much as those players. So if you're the Angels right now, I know I'm crazy saying this. I think you should do it. If you get the right package from a team, I think you should do it.
The right does that include a couple of guys at the major league level that we've seen that have shown that they could have the ability to play in this league? Because it feels like in all these trades, it never happens.
Absolutely,
team that
absolutely.
Gets all the prospects.
Listen, it has to definitely be the right package. It has to absolutely be the right package. But if you get the right package, and you're the Angels, and you're out of this thing, and you probably know you're probably not going to re-sign him, why not? Get value. You could potentially lose this guy for nothing.
No, you could. Yeah, I know you get that additional draft pick, which, it's not great, but I feel like it's just so tough because you're not if the Angels get a couple, and I don't even know what team would do this, that have a couple of guys at the major league level that have shown that they could play here and that they could produce at the major league level. And maybe a couple of really good prospects that, that feel like they could be really good in the future, then maybe I pull the trigger. But other than that, I can't do it. I can't get 5 of the best prospects and kind of just bank on them all being good enough and all surviving the major league level. Because then it just looks like an absolute failure, and you'll set your franchise back even more. So I feel like you may have a better shot of just winging it this year. Hope Trout comes back, and maybe you go on the run in the month of September. You get hot, and who knows what happens.
I get your point, but what happens if you somehow lose him for nothing? What happens if you lose him for nothing? I don't know if you're going to be able to recover from that. At least if you trade him at the deadline, you might be able to recover from that. If you can get a top prospect, you might be able to recover. Your organization might be able to recover. You lose it for nothing, you're not going to be able to recover. It's going to be very, very hard for your organization to recover from that. No,
it will. I just feel like, too, what about when Verlander going to Houston for a time? It was they the 4 prospects that they traded out for, or Houston, Detroit got, all 4 of them flopped, and I think one of them played a year in the major league level. That kind of set the Tigers back a couple years. There's maybe they're still having trouble turning that corner. I just feel like if you could really hurt the franchise if you don't find the right prospects or they don't pan out. It's such a risky thing. I feel like it might be better just to hold on to them and just try to go for this thing, or at least and hope that Trout comes back. I know their schedule's tough coming up, but maybe you could somehow find a way to hold on. Maybe you could find, you got Brandon Drury coming back this week or next week. He's had a really good year. Maybe you could find maybe you could find a way to sneak. I know in the American League, you're going to have to win 90 games, but maybe Trout comes back in early August, mid-August. You got a month and a half with him. Maybe you get hot enough and you can find a way to sneak in. I feel like you could, and I see your point too. I just feel like either way, you could set your franchise back, and I just feel like maybe just give it a shot. And I know Artie Moreno, is trying to sell the team. I know he said he does not want to trade Ohtani, and I wouldn't either. I just feel like it just, you're trading maybe one of the greatest players in Major League Baseball. And it's just tough to just go get prospects for that. I would want guys at the Major League level that could produce.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. Yeah, they should definitely make sure if they're going to make that trade, they have guys that could produce. It's so tough now. This was obvious, early, for most of the year, this was obvious they weren't going to do it because you knew the Angels were going to be in it. But once Trout got hurt and once they went on that losing streak before the All-Star break, then this started to become a major, major topic of discussion. And it's going to be a major topic of discussion over the next month. This is going to be the biggest story in baseball, maybe arguably the biggest story in sports over the next month. Do the Angels trade Shohei Ohtani? This is going to, because, obviously this is a player we've never seen, and the Angels could move on from him because of the circumstances, because of the circumstances of where their team is at, and the opportunity the Angels could have to get a haul for Shohei Ohtani. But yeah, I get your point that you do not want to trade one of the greatest players we've ever seen. So I get that point. But my point is, if you know that it's gonna be very, very difficult to re-sign him, why not just move on now and get what you can get for him? And, get a haul for him.
Yeah, and I see your point. Yeah, it's risky either way, trading him or holding on and kind of hoping for the best, and you kind of get that extra draft pick next year. Because again, I just now maybe some of it's selfish too, because I'm supposed to I'm going to see the Angels play in Citi Field in late August. So
wow,
I kind of want
you got tickets to Angels Mets.
Yeah, so selfishly I'm hoping, because the Mets and Angels will stink now. So that game, there's no appeal to that game if Ohtani's gone. So, selfishly too, I feel like I do want him to be in LA, for that game in August. So, but I still feel like, that pitching stat, the starters are starting, like Reed Detmer, I know he struggled that time, but he's got some potential. I know the rest of that rotation's not great. Carlos Estevez's been good as a closer this year. I know that bullpen's still not great either. They got like Ben Joyce, who's a rookie they just drafted last year. Like, I know there's a lot of youth to that team, and could they find it? I just feel like it's just so tough to just trade Ohtani for 5 prospects that you have no idea how they're going to pan out, just because baseball is just so random like that. And it's just such a risky investment. And I get too of just keeping them and saying, let's just ride this thing out. And then, you don't get anything for them besides that draft pick, like, like in the 30s. It's risky either way, but I just feel like if it's risky either way, might as well just kind of hold on to them and just hope for the best and hope you can go on a late run here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it'll be very, very interesting. But as I've been saying, I just think that if you are out, if you know you're out of it, if the Angels keep losing, imagine losing them in free agency and getting nothing. Yeah. Imagine losing them in free agency. That'd be disastrous. I'd say at least you want to get something, but I definitely get your point.
Yeah, and I get your point as well. It's just you lose in free agency, things go south here. Look, if they lose like 15 straight, if they continue to lose here, they lose, another week or two, then maybe, just pull the trigger on it. But I feel like if you're somewhat kind of just, treading water, you're kind of just, playing like 500 ball, for the next couple weeks, you're still giving yourself a chance here. Then I think you just attempt to just try to hold on to them and just see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You hear Ortiz after the All-Star game last night? He's like, I hope the Red Sox get Ohtani. All I want is the Red Sox to get Ohtani. I don't care what we trade. I want him to get Ohtani at the trade deadline. That's what he was saying last night.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. That'd be. I know Yoshida. I believe Yoshida played. I know they played Team Japan, so there's that connection there. I don't know if Chaim Bloom's spending that type of money. I know he's been saving money with that team, but I hope it's not to go get Shohei Ohtani. That would stink.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But we'll move on to our AL Cy Young Award winner, and I'm going to go with our guy. I'm going to go with Garrett Cole. I mean, he's the 14-5 when he started games, 9-2 as a starter, ERA under 3. I mean, where would the Yankees be without Garrett Cole? Where would the Yankees be without him? The Yankee season would be over without Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole has had his best seasons as a Yankee starter. He did have his best season as a Yankee starter because the rest of the rotation has been very inconsistent. I mean, Garrett Cole's had a phenomenal year. For me, I know Sonny Gray's had a really good year for the Twins. I know Evaldi's had a really good year. I know McClanahan's had a really good year too. But guys like McClanahan and Evaldi, they've gotten more run support. Garrett Cole hasn't gotten the run support this year, and he's still 14-5 when the Yankees are still 14-5 when he pitches. To me, Garrett Cole is my Cy Young Award winner in the American League.
Yeah, it was close for me. I did take him over Fernando Valdez. I know Valdez is coming off the IL, and I know Valdez's numbers are really good as well. But yeah, what Cole's meant to this Yankee team, and like where would this Yankee team would probably be 5, 6 games under 500 without him. Like, they're 8-0 now when he pitches coming off a loss. Like, he's done what an ace has to do. The home run numbers, he's given up less home runs this year. He's kind of figured some things out in the offseason. He's kind of been the guy that Yankee fans, he's been good, but like there's a little bit, not all the way yet, but like you kind of see some of those signs that you saw in like Houston, where he was just unhittable, and you knew going to a game against him, you're lucky to get 2-3 runs off of him. Like that's the best you're gonna do. And he's been unbelievable this season. And yeah, he's been so fun to watch. And he's one of the few bright spots that these Yankee teams had, because yeah, it's been an absolute disaster for him this year. And he's been a huge sigh of relief for him. That he's been unbelievable.
Oh, huge sigh of relief, huge. So yeah, I mean, he's just been so good for this team, and that's why for me, he is absolutely my Cy Young Award winner in the American League. Now we'll go to Rookie of the Year, and I'm going to go with Josh Young. For Rookie of the Year. I think he's had a really, really good year for the. He had a really good year for the Rangers. I think Josh Young, he's played third base, had a really good year. I think he's played really, really well for them. So for AL Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Josh Young of the Texas Rangers. Yeah,
I'm complete agreement with you here. One of the best lineups in baseball. He's in right in the middle of that. He's got 19 home runs on the year. Brought a lot of pop for that team. There's a huge prospect coming up. I know, Gunnar Henderson's had a good year. He's been coming on lately. There's a couple of good ones in the American League, but yeah, I think Josh Young with that team, what the Rangers have been able to do this year, I believe he should be the Rookie of the Year right now.
Oh, yep, absolutely. Now, for Rookie of the Year in the National League, I'm going to go with Elly De La Cruz. And the big question is De La Cruz the biggest reason why the Reds are playing as well as they are? And obviously it is. I mean, he's been phenomenal. The guy's a 5-tool player. He can hit. His power is amazing. His base running is amazing. His fielding is amazing. He's got great speed. He's got unbelievable speed. This guy is just. I mean, he's like the next Jackie Robinson. He might be the next Jackie Robinson. That's how good he is right now.
Yeah, he does everything so well. He's been a huge part of why they've been red hot since he's come up, and he's batting like 325. I think he's just provided so much energy to that team and that fan base, and just so much excitement, because yeah, they had a great month of June. They had like a 3-game losing streak at one point late in the month, but it was against like the Braves and Orioles. They tough weekend to lose 2 out of 3 of the Brewers, but you still have a 1-game lead in that division, and they got the Brewers coming up at home this weekend. But yeah, Elly Cruz has been unbelievable. He finished I had him second. I had Corbin Carroll just because of what Arizona's done. And him making the All-Star game, and he's been a huge part of why Arizona's been kind of such a surprise. But yeah, De La Cruz, I was going back and forth. I just felt like, he hadn't been up here as long as Carroll, and that's not taking anything away against De La Cruz, but Carroll's been, has been such a huge part of Arizona's success as well this year.
Absolutely. But you would take Corbin Carroll over Elly De La Cruz for an Rookie year
right now. Yeah. With the numbers.
I know the number. Again, listen, I understand the numbers are there, but De La Cruz, the impact he's made, he should have been an All-Star. He should have absolutely been an All-Star for the impact he's made. I know he's only played about 30-something games, but it's not the all-at-bats game. It's the All-Star game, and the fans last night want to see a guy like Elly De La Cruz play. They want to see that. So I think Elly De La Cruz should have made the All-Star game, and I think he's definitely going to win. I think he's definitely going to win the Rookie of the Year over Corbin Carroll, even though Corbin Carroll has played really well.
Yeah, Corbin's been unbelievable. Did De La Cruz come up in time for the voting? I don't even remember if he was on the fan voting thing.
Yeah, I don't know. That may be something. I'm not sure about that. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't really vote this year, so I couldn't tell you. But maybe that's one of the reasons why. Look, De La Cruz is going to be in a ton of All-Star games for the years to come. He's going to be there. I just, maybe at the end they do give it to De La Cruz, but I feel like I think my stance would be different if Arizona was 10 games under 500. I feel like he's kind of brought a lot of energy to that Arizona team. They've been fun to watch. It's small ball. Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly. If those, they make playoffs 1-2. That Arizona's gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. Carroll's just done an unbelievable job. De La Cruz, might be a little bit more entertaining Carroll, but I think Carroll, again, maybe because they play out in Arizona, they play at 9:30 at night. Like maybe there's not he's not as exciting as De La Cruz, but I think he's right up there as well.
He's not as exciting as De La Cruz, but yeah, no, he's done a great job. But let's be honest, L.A. De La Cruz has been absolutely phenomenal. He had that cycle against the Braves. That was unreal. That was amazing. That was the first cycle in franchise that team has had since Eric Davis in 1989. So, and look at the popularity. There are people that are wearing red stuff all over the place because of him. So it is close. I'll give it to you, but I'm definitely going with De La Cruz.
Yeah, and I see your points. He's had such an impact, and I got the Reds to win that division. So like I am cheering for the Reds. I hope they do end up winning that division. And yeah, they continue to keep winning, but it's close, and it's great for the sport that those two are doing what they're doing, because the new kind of batch of young stars are here, and it's it's a great thing for baseball.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, especially De La Cruz. Have De La Cruz and Shohei Ohtani with the pitch clock. I think baseball's trending in the right direction. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're gonna get Shohei in the playoffs. Hopefully, we can get De La Cruz in the playoffs. Hopefully, we can get De La Cruz in the playoffs. And with this pitch clock, the ratings can go up, because you got to give baseball a lot of credit. They did a great job changing these rules and making this game more watchable. Give them credit for trying to change the rules, and hopefully it benefits them in the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it does, and hopefully the trends continue for baseball. I know attendance has been up, and like a place like Cincinnati, the last couple homestands, that place has been. That injury at that ballpark's been unbelievable. So yeah, it'd be cool to see Cincy make it, and yeah, the playoffs could be very, very, very exciting this year, because it feels Braves might run away with this thing and will win it, but yeah, I think like besides the Braves, I think there's a lot of teams that could challenge the Braves, but yeah, they're kind of on a thing of their own right now. But yeah, hopefully the postseason, it should be a lot of fun. It's trending in the right direction.
Now, speaking of the Braves, we'll go to our NL MVP. And my NL MVP is Ronald Acuna. This guy's been phenomenal, hitting over 300, 21 home runs, 55 RBIs, and he has over 40 stolen bases already. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. If it wasn't for Ohtani, and if it wasn't for De La Cruz, we'd be talking about him, because he's had an absolutely phenomenal year. I'm telling you right now, he's a top 3 player in the game with Aaron Judge and with Shohei Ohtani. Ronald Acuna is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that Braves team won a World Series without him, which is the crazy thing. And he's such a great player. And yeah, he's on pace to have like 82 stolen bases and over 40 home runs. Stolen base. He's such an exciting player to watch. He's got over 50 RBIs too for being in the leadoff spot. And in that Braves lineup, there's not a hole in that lineup. And that the home runs that they're on pace at the most home runs of all time in one season. They've just been such a fun team to watch. And yeah, Acuna Jr. is right up there as like one of the top 3, top 5 players in all baseball right now. He's just so funny to watch. And that Braves team, with everything they got else in that roster, that's such a fun baseball team right now.
Oh, absolutely. To me, they're clearly the best team in baseball. They proved that this week when they took 2 out of 3 against the Rays.
Yeah, they absolutely did. They played really well this weekend, winning the Trop. So yeah, the Braves made a statement to the rest of the baseball world, and that team does not lose right now. They've been on credible roll since the month of June.
So for NL Cy Young, I'm going to go with Zach Gallen. I'm going to go with Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks. 11-2 ERA, a little bit over 3, but 11-3 ERA over a little bit over 3. But he's had a phenomenal year, and a big reason why the Diamondbacks are tied for first in the NL West.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Him, Merrill Kelly, they've been really good. Gallen deserved that start last night in the National League All-Star game. Not a guy that's got like the overpowering kind of velocity stuff, but the movement he's got, the location, he's superb in all that area. And, he's been such a huge bright spot. Him and Carroll, just such a huge part of this kind of turnaround for Arizona here. I know they're kind of struggling of late. I know they had a rough kind of start to July here, but hopefully this All-Star state, the break here gives them, gets them back on track. And yeah, Zach Gallen deserves the Cy Young so far in the National League.
Absolutely. Now we'll go to our most surprising and most disappointing team in the first half. We'll start with our most surprising team, and for me, that's the Florida Marlins. I know there's a lot of teams that are surprising. You got the Arizona Diamondbacks. You've got the Cincinnati Reds. You got a lot of teams that are really, really surprising. But to me, it's the Marlins, and here's the biggest reason why. Alcantara's not had a good year, and Jazz Chisholm has missed time, and this team has still won. This team is 53-39. In second place, the NL East got the second best record in the National League. So for me, it's the Marlins who are my most surprising team.
Yeah, for me, it was tough. I'm going to go, because I had a couple. I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks just to take something different here. The Marlins are right there. Like Yuri Perez, I kind of think they sent him down. But I took Diamondback. Going in, I kind of felt like maybe this team's the small ball, the pitch clock could all kind of help them out and work in their advantage. And like if they could find pitching, outside of Kelly and Gallen, like if they could add a third star. I know Tommy Henry's been good since coming up. Their bullpen is okay. They need help in that area, but like what Corbin Carroll has done this year, Gabriel Morano coming over from Toronto behind the plate. He's been really good. Marte's having a pretty good year. And I think having like a guy like Evan Longoria in that dugout, and I know he hasn't done a ton this year, but I just think that veteran presence has been huge for that team. And they pretty much had that. They were pretty much leading the National League West since April and May. Like they've been in control of that division for majority of the year. Luis Gurriel's had a really good year too, coming over from the Blue Jays. So for me, Marlins a tough one. Marlins, Reds. Range is a little bit of a surprise, but I think right now the Diamondbacks are probably my biggest surprise so far.
Most disappointing team, I'm going to go with the San Diego. So there's a couple. The Mets are there too, but I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres. I'm going to go with the Padres. They were my World Series pick. And the biggest reason why the Padres have struggled is their offense outside of Tatis has been absolutely terrible. Soto was underachieved. It was an all-star, but he hasn't had a great year. Machado was underachieved. Bogarts has been a major disappointment in that lineup. So has Cronenworth. Their offense has not been anywhere near as good as we thought it was going to be. And for me, that's why they are my most disappointing team at 43-47 and in fourth place in the NL West and 6 games out of the last wild card spot.
Yeah, they've been dreadful. I'm going to go with the New York Mets. This is a team that won 101 games last year. I know they finished poorly. They got beat by the Padres. But they had a guy like Justin Verlander. I know he's been pitching better. Scherzer has not been great. I know losing Edwin Diaz has really hurt. But that lineup this year, just, Lindor, the average is down. Brendan Nimmo's been okay. Starling Marte's have a down year. I know he's up there in the 30s now. Vogelback's been horrible. They just have not made, the offseason, some of the trades, like they got rid of JD Davis, which, they've lost that deal. I just feel like the Mets team, for a team that won 101 games last year and just played such good baseball, like they didn't beat themselves at all last year. This year, it just feels like they're just making so many dumb and costly mistakes. And to be 6 games under 500, I think it's very disappointing. And for the team that had such a high payroll too, this team has just really been disappointing. And it felt like, they won 6 straight there to begin July. And like, okay, maybe they'll turn around, but then you lose 2 straight to San Diego this weekend. And, now you're right back to kind of where you were the month of July, beginning of the month. And kind of like there's not much hope right now for the Mets.
The Mets might have to blow this entire thing up with the way they've been playing. They've had a very, very disappointing year. But before we wrap up, we're going to give our World Series picks, our midseason World Series pick. And for me, the National League is pretty obvious. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves. They're clearly the best team in baseball. Their offense is great. Their bullpen's really good. Their rotation's good. They're good everywhere. And they won a championship 2 years ago. They've won the NL West. The NL East. 5 years in a row they've won the NL East, even though the Nationals got the World Series in 2019 and the Phillies got the the Nationals won the World Series in 2019. The Phillies got the World Series in 2022. But they've won 5 consecutive NL East titles. I think they win a 6th, and I think they will be going to the World Series. And I got them facing a familiar foe, the Houston Astros. I think that the Astros are going to go back to the World Series because I don't think there's a dominant team in the American League. The Rangers, they're going to miss Shohei Ohtani. They're going to miss Jacob deGrom. They're going to miss Jacob deGrom come playoff time. And they're starting to miss him now. They're starting to miss him now because John Gray hasn't pitched as well. Martin Perez hasn't pitched as well either. That rotation is definitely going to miss deGrom. Their offense is phenomenal. They had 5 starters in the All-Star game last night. I think it's the best lineup 1 through 9. Them or the Braves are 1-2. So their lineup is phenomenal. But their rotation, their bullpen, I think, is what's going to keep them from winning the World Series. And it could keep them from winning the AL West, because they're only 2 games up on the Astros in the AL West. And then also you look at a team like Tampa. Yeah, Tampa got off to a great start. They got off to a phenomenal start, started 13-0. But they haven't played as well because of the injuries they've had in the rotation. I think with the injuries in their rotation, that's going to be an issue, and that's why I'll take Houston's pitching over their pitching. If you look at Houston, they're 2 games out of the AL West, and Alvarez and Altuve have missed a lot of games. So that's why I'm taking Houston. I think they're still the most complete team in the American League. So that's why I got the Braves, the Astros in the World Series, and I got the Braves winning it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Braves. That just, right now I got the Braves. They're just, they're on a different world right now, and they'll get Max Fried back in the next 2 weeks or so. Alex Anthopoulos, he's going to go out and go make a couple trades. Like, he's going to go out and go get a couple more arms for this, for the remainder of the year. Like, they're always aggressive. I feel like right now the Braves, they're just the most, they're the most complete team in baseball. There's not one hole in that lineup right now. Like, Orlando Arcia was in the All-Star, starting last night in the All-Star game. They're just, that lineup is so tough to navigate. They're going to be such a tough out in the month of October. And, right now, they're clearly right now the best team in baseball. And, on the American League side, the team I'm going to take at the moment, the Astros are up there. I'm going to take the O's. I'm going to go with the young O's.
Ooh, you're going with the Orioles. Now they got to make some moves. They need another starter. They need a starter at the deadline. But that bullpen, definitely good enough. That lineup is good enough to get to a World Series. Need some more depth in their rotation. That's an interesting pick there with the Orioles.
Yeah, they've had like the 4th best record since Adley Rutschman's came up. All that young talent. We'll see what happens when they get the month of October and when the lights get bright. But that just seems like a young team that's kind of just, I feel like we'll enjoy the moment. We'll just go out there because, like, I know like the expectations were to like make the playoff, but like if they make the playoffs, I think it'll be such like a good year for Baltimore. I don't, when they get in there, like, I feel like, they'll be kind of the underdogs going into a playoff series. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, if they can add another starter too, because I don't feel good about Tyler Wells being my game 1 starter. I don't feel great about that. I don't, and they're not getting John Means back the rest of the year. So, or they may get him back in August. So you might have them for the postseason stretch here, which will help. But if they can add an arm or two, that I feel a lot more. I feel a lot better about Baltimore. But I'll take a shot at the O's. Young pesky team. They can steal bases. They could be a menace on the base paths. I'll take Baltimore to find a way to just because the American League is so wide open.
Absolutely. And wide open.
And Houston would be my number 2 pick. I think the age is getting to them, and that lineup hasn't been great. I know there's been some injuries. I know they're starting to play better. Altuve hasn't been healthy. I know they'll get Alvarez back, but I think their time's kind of coming to an end here. So take Baltimore, the young O's here, knock them off.
We'll see. But the Yankees haven't been playing well, and the Red Sox have been red hot. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
So the Yankees have really been struggling heading into the All-Star break, losing 2 out of 3 to the Cubs. I mean, a bad loss on Friday when they got shut out, and a disgraceful loss on Sunday when they had a 4-1 lead. And Gleyber Torres made a horrific error, which opened the floodgates. They ended up losing the game 7-4. And now we'll have our recap of the Yankees. Right now they're 49-42, one game out of the last wild card spot in the American League. And we'll start with the lineup. We're going to give our grades for each: the lineup, the bullpen, and the starting rotation. We'll start with the lineup. My grade for the lineup is a C-, and it would be a lot lower if Judge didn't go on that hot streak before he got hurt. If Judge didn't go on that hot streak before he got hurt, this would be lower because this lineup has been pathetic without Aaron Judge. But for me, it's a C-. Obviously, when Judge is in there, he's been really good for this lineup. But Stanton has not been good. Gleyber Torres, he's an average hitter. I get it. His defense, what'd you say?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, he's average. He's
an average hitter, but his defense is absolutely pathetic. He's got 9 errors at second base, and then you saw the game on Sunday. There was a clear double play ball, which would have got him out of the inning, and he booted the ball. Then the Cubs tied the game, and then they lost the game. He is horrible in the field, Gleyber Torres. I am so sick of him. I am sick of Gleyber Torres. I get he's an okay hitter, but his inning doesn't make up for his absolutely pathetic defense, and I'm not even big on defense, and I'm tired of his defense.
Yeah, Gleyber. Yeah, well, you hear Boone, he's a good defender, but he leads all in base. He leads all second basemen with most errors in the leagues. But you can't listen to Aaron Boone talk. You just
is he disengaged with what's going on? Is Aaron Boone disengaged with what's going on?
I think so. Did you hear about what he said about Herman Sunday? I wanted to take him out because I wanted him to feel good about himself at going into the All-Star break. He had a perfect game 2 weeks ago.
I know.
And then he was like, I didn't want to have my bullpen sit for 5 days. Like, your bullpen could use 5 days off, Booney. He's such a clown. He is such a clown.
Let me tell you, this has got to be. If they don't make the playoffs or they lose in the wild card round, this thing's got to be over with this guy. This guy has got to be fired. I mean, yeah, just totally disengaged with what's going on. Not a horrific manager, but he's still just to be a manager of this team for 6 years. I am so done with him.
Yeah, I've had enough. I can't listen to him talking because then he's always like, he'll never tell his feelings. He'll always like explain situations like we don't know what's going on. It's like, Boone, we know baseball. You just, how do you feel about this? Again, hopefully with the hitting coach being fired now, like hopefully that's a warning sign of, let's turn this thing around here, because this is pathetic. It's bad. And to lose Thursday night to 14-1, and then the turn around against James, who I told you was going to shut us down.
You were right about that. Yes, I'll give you credit. You were right about that.
Yeah, I was not shocked he went out there and pitched one hit baseball in 8 innings. I really was not shocked. And then, you blow Sunday. Like, that's the other thing too, Boone. It's like we're at a point where when we're up, you just got to go win. You can't worry about resting your bullpen or winding your bullpen. The best thing to do is just leave them out there. You can't blow games like this now. You don't have the luxury, but it's a joke. It's absolutely pathetic, and it's time for change because hopefully there's a new puppet that understands and has a feel to a baseball game because he's absolutely cool.
Yeah, exactly. And go back to the lineup. I mean, Rizzo has not been good. Obviously, Trevino's been terrible. Domeyu struggles. Really, most of the lineup outside of Harrison Bader. I'll give Harrison Bader credit because he's had some huge hits. Harrison Bader's had some key hits against good teams. Against the Orioles, that 3-run homer. He had that big hit against the Rangers, and they won that series. We thought things were turning around, but so Bader's been probably their second best hitter on this team. How crazy it's been this year. Bader's been their second best hitter, but yeah, this team, this offense, is absolutely terrible. They're trying to now change hitting coaches, bring in Sean Casey, and we'll see if that ends up working. But just not good at all offensively. That's why my grade for their offense is a C-.
I'm going with a D+. Who on this team is playing up to the baseball card, to the back of the baseball card? There's nobody. Rizzo's been bad. DJ LeMay's a shell of himself, and I keep thinking at one point he's got to turn around, but he's not. I know Josh Donaldson has 10 home runs, so maybe Josh Donaldson ends with 25 home runs, but he may only have 32 total hits on the year. So he's been awful. Again, Volpe has been batting 300 since the stance changed.
Good point about Volpe. Volpe's been hitting better. I'll give him credit too.
So Volpe, hopefully he gets back on track. Bader's been good when he's been in the lineup. Yeah, he's had some huge hits. Stan's been, this weekend maybe, but, again, Saturday he had a really good day, but then Sunday he turned around. He did not play, he had a tough day Sunday. So there's just nobody on this team that's playing the back of the baseball card. And I just go with a D+ because they're in the bottom tier in batting average. I think they're 13th in the American League. Their on base percentage, one of the worst. It's the bottom 5 in the sport. They're just so many of their hitting categories are just so bad right now and just such in the basement. And they're only averaging 3 runs a game without Judge. It's such a pathetic lineup. Their at-bats are pathetic. Can we do something other than just try to hit home run? Can we just try to get on base, please? Hopefully their approach. I don't expect their approaches to change. I wish it would, but again, it'd be one thing if they're having good bats or having 8-9 pitch at bats and they're just having poor luck. That's not the case. They're just bad at bats, and this team just looks absolutely broken without Aaron Judge, and that really should not happen with one guy just being out of your lineup. But it is.
Absolutely. They're just not good at the plate without Judge. Now, moving on to the rotation, I'm going to give the rotation a B-. Number one, because of how well Garrett Cole has pitched. And I know behind Cole they've been inconsistent, but they did have a perfect game, and that was only the 4th in franchise history. So I'll give them a B- for that. But the thing is outside of Garrett Cole, they're lucky I didn't give him a C+. This rotation has been very inconsistent. Herman has been inconsistent. Severino has been absolutely terrible, and Schmidt and Brito have been inconsistent as well. So, but the rotation's been inconsistent. But the positive for them is Carlos Rondon is back. He's only made 1 start, so I think the rotation will get better in the second. It will be better in the second half of the year.
I gave the rotation a B. I know.
That's a high grade there.
Yeah, well, I feel like obviously Cole, we've kind of talked about on the Cy Young Award. He's been unbelievable. Rendon coming back. He looked good Friday. Again, too bad he just had 0 run support. Schmidt's been a lot better lately. He's kind of turned the corner. I know,
Yeah, but how bad was he at the beginning of the year?
He was horrible, but he's corrected things, and it gives me kind of hope towards the rest of the remainder of the year. Herman's, you don't know what you're going to get out of Herman. You really don't. Sevy's been horrific, and I wonder if they give him one more start and just say, hey, look, can we go to the bullpen, or do they do what they Toronto do with Manoah, just say, hey, go down to the complex and just figure some things out. That could be a possibility. I know Cortez has not been great, but when you've got Johnny Brito and Randy Vasquez, those two have been pretty good since, I know Brito had that one bad one, I think it's the Twins, but Vasquez is giving you some really quality innings. I'm going to give it a B. They've kept this lineup in position to win games. And I feel like right now that's what you have to do with this. They've given their offense a chance to win games. And that's kind of what you got to do at this point with this lineup right now at the moment.
Yeah. They give them a chance. So, they've done a decent job. Not a great job because of the inconsistency, but they've done a decent job. Now, though, we got to give credit where credit is due, and this is why this team has a chance. This is the biggest reason why this team has a chance, and that's the bullpen. The bullpen has been outstanding. I know they don't have a consistent ninth inning guy. I get it. But this bullpen has been absolutely phenomenal. Tommy Kahnle, Ian Hamilton, Clay Holmes, Wandy Peralta, Michael King. This bullpen is their second in bullpen ERA for a reason. It's been absolutely phenomenal. It is the reason why this team is 49-42.
Yeah, absolutely.
I give it an A.
I'm with you. I have an A as well. And don't forget Loizaga when he comes back. He was one of their best relievers last year. Like you got him coming back, I believe, the next month or so, maybe. So that that's going to be huge too. So this bullpen's, this bullpen, this bullpen's been unbelievable. You really can't totally blame them for what happened Sunday because there was an error.
There was an error. I know it was a bad game, but every bullpen's gonna have a bad game, okay? Yeah. But that error was absolutely ridiculous. But that's why they just completely not lived up to potential.
No, he has not. It's been very disappointing, and this bullpen again. For majority of the time, bullpens are gonna have their bad days. It happens in baseball, but you feel like most of the time, you're up by a run or two late in games. You feel like this bullpen's gonna be able to shut things down. And that's what they've been able to do. Nick Ramirez has been okay as well. Like Ryan Weber, the times he's been up here, has been all right as well. So, this bullpen's done the job. It's been the best in baseball. They're a big reason why this team's still somewhat, it is 7 games over 500 right now.
Yeah, it's the reason they have a chance. And then obviously at the trade deadline, they got to get a bat. I think Rooker from the A's, he could be an option. Then Bellinger from the Cubs would be an option. Yeah. They need a bat. If they don't get a bat, they don't have a chance to go anywhere in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Luis Robert, I guess Chicago's selling everybody. I know that would be a lot of money, but man, that would be great.
I don't think they're going to trade Robert, the White Sox.
I don't know. Yeah, they might for the right price. They've kind of said everybody's available. So for the right price, that'd be not, that'd be a huge one. But Bellinger would be fine. Brett Rooker, that's a good one. Peterson's always, Jack Peterson's always been a name I've heard. So they just need, and Bellinger would be good because Bellinger's a really good outfield as well. So they need help in that. They need help in that outfield, especially left field. Because that's a mess.
Absolutely. So now we will move on to the Red Sox, and we'll start with the lineup. The lineup, I'm giving it an A-. The Yoshida and the Turner moves have been really good. I'll give Chaim Bloom credit for this. Getting Yoshida and getting Turner, those have been really, really good moves for the Red Sox. Those guys have been better than I thought they were going to be. Devers, he's been an absolute stud. He's been great. Verdugo's been pretty good. Duran's been good, and Duvall's been good when he's been in the lineup. So the Red Sox, that's the strength of their team. I get their 6th in runs scored. I give the Red Sox lineup an A-.
Yeah, I got an A- as well for them. Yeah, they're right up there in runs scored in all of baseball. Verdugo and Devers, were both, I think, just both missed the playoffs. Those two have really good years. Justin Turner's come on late. Yoshida could be right there. It's like 2nd or 3rd in the American League and Rookie of the Year. He's been unbelievable, and he's kind of, a lot of people thought they overpaid for him. He's been worth every penny so far. That lineup's been a huge reason why they're still in contention. Here they're 5 games over 500. They'd be good shape. They're in the American League Central. Unfortunately, they just play in the best division in baseball. But look, they've been playing well lately, and that lineup's been a huge reason why they've been on that lineup just all year. It's been a problem, and they're going to get Trevor Story back very soon.
Yes, and that would be huge because that would make that lineup even better. When they get Trevor Story back, that lineup will be even better. But now moving on to the biggest weakness of this team, that's the rotation, and I give the rotation a C. And I do think Paxton's pitched well when he's pitched. Bello has proven to be a guy that they can move forward with. The issue is the depth in that rotation. Sale can't stay healthy. Kluber was an absolute disaster when he pitched. Hulk when he pitched was not good. I'm going to get the rotation a C. And this team, at the trade deadline, has got to go out and try to get a Marcus Stroman or a Eduardo Rodriguez. This team has got to try to get more pitching. They definitely do. They got a chance. They got to try to go get pitching at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, the way Durant's hitting, man, Duvall, I trade Duvall for an arm. That
wouldn't be bad.
I think the way Durant's been hitting, there's Duvall's probably getting squeezed out, and outside of Paxton and Brian Balow, there's just not much. And Whitlock has he's had a couple of good starts, but he's been inconsistent yet. Hauk hasn't been great. Now he's out. Cutter Crawford, he's shown you he could pitch, but again, he's another inconsistent one. And Sale, they hope to get back sooner rather than later, but he's not been on the mound much in the last couple of years. So yeah, the problem is the depth here with that rotation, and I give it a C as well. It just the depth of it. They've been going to have some bullpen games lately. They're going to have to probably continue that for the next couple of weeks here until they get a couple arms, or until they just get some guys back from the IL.
Absolutely. Now, moving on to the bullpen, I'm going to give that a B-. I think that Jansen's had a good year. The issue is the depth in the bullpen. They're 14th. Their bullpen ERA, they're 14th in bullpen ERA. That definitely could be a spot they could beef up at the trade deadline too. So because of the way Jansen has pitched, I'll give it a B-.
Yeah, I have a B- as well. Jansen's been pretty good. Chris Martin's been really good. John Schreiber, when he's been healthy, he's been good. And I think this week or next week, he's going to come off the IL. Nick Vavetta's looked better since going into the bullpen. He's kind of been a long man for him. They used him as that bulk guy on bullpen days. Josh Winkowski, I know had a little bit of a down spot a couple weeks ago, but he looks like he's rebounded. He's been a nice weapon for him. Brendan Bernardo, some journeyman they picked up has been pretty good. So they found some guys that have worked out, and it hasn't been as bad as we've thought the bullpen was going to be this year. It's held its own, and again that's been huge for him. So yeah, the bullpen I would give it B-.
All righty, so we'll see what happens with the Red Sox. They're in it. They got a chance. They're 48-43, 2 games out of the wild card. So we'll see what happens in the second half of the year for them. But we got to move on to a huge story in the Big Ten, and that's Northwestern. And on Monday, they fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald. This was shocking. If you told me there were 5 coaches that this would not happen to, I would say it would be Pat Fitzgerald. This is absolutely shocking this happened. Hazing in the program. Pat Fitzgerald was fired. And the big question is Justin, how shocked are you? And personally, I'm shocked. And should he have been fired? And for me, I think he should have been fired. You can't let this stuff happen in your program in 2023. It just can't happen. I don't care how long you've been there. This stuff cannot happen in the year 2023 in your program.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Yeah, this is one of the programs, Pat Fitzgerald, he's been there since he played there in the 90s. He's the team captain there when they made the Rose Bowl in 94.
Back in the Gary Barnett years, right?
Yeah. They all are really decent kind of tenure that they had there, until Pat Fitzgerald got there. It's been bad since since he got there. He started in 06, I think he became the head coach. So for Northwestern, he's done a heck of a job. It's just shocking that it would happen. And the thing is, and from what's been in the articles, nobody, the investigation, they don't have enough evidence to say if he was part of it, if he knew or didn't know. But I agree with you, because if you're the head coach, you're the CEO of the program, and you need to know every little thing that's happening, underneath you. And that's the issue. And if you knew or not, you got to know, especially in 2023. That's the tough part about it here. Again, the AD and president handled this. They botched this thing so poorly. And for a school like Northwestern, that's kind of the reputation of it's a Midwestern Ivy League. They did not. They were not very smart handling this thing. But yeah, I was very surprised when he, I was very surprised when I heard the news, and Monday, hearing he got fired was a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, and you talk about the AD and the president. Should they lose their jobs as well?
Yeah, I think they should. The president now, he just got there too. Because the other president that was there before him, left immediately because of health issues. He was, this was their second choice here. And the ADs knew, because Jim Phillips was the old AD, and he just took the ACC commissioner job. So they got 2 newer guys in there. But the problem is the AD and the president were not there when Pat Fitzgerald addressed the team about kind of, being fired. They were not in the AD. I think it was Monday night, or maybe it was Tuesday morning. He had he had an opening statement with the team on Zoom, but then turned off his camera, left the meeting. He was not in the room. And I guess every player's faces, on that in that meeting were not happy with him. I guess they wrote a letter to him. The baseball team is now in a scandal as well, which you could read about if you're interested. So now they got that.
Wow.
So it's not good in Northwestern right now. So I think you had just the way they handled it. Like I told you before the show, the 2 weeks that they suspended them, it's a dead period right now in recruiting. And the only guys the guys on campus are working out and taking summer classes, or there's guys probably home just, because their first practice and they report back to, campus August 4th, I believe, is their first practice. So I think maybe there's two things. I think it could have been handled differently if they suspended for a couple games. It would have been maybe different. Or, and I hate to say this, but it's college athletics and it's a corrupt business. If he won 9-4, 10-3, this probably all goes hush hush, and they pay the whistleblower $10-15 million to say, just go. If this is enough money for you to kind of go away and just not be a bother anymore. So that's the thing. And look, it's and the AD president too, like the way they handle the intern situation is, and I know it's such a tough spot at this point, but all those assistant coaches were under the same exact culture that Pat Fitzgerald was. All like it's the same. It's all the same guys. Like you fired Pat Fitzgerald because of kind of the hazing, but now all these coaches were the same, are all with them. Now they may not know. Maybe some of these guys don't know that was going on either. But you kept all those guys too. That it's under the same umbrella. So I know it's tough to go find somebody at this point, but like they kept all the other staff members, and that's just the weird thing. And then my last point too is every college coach should be going to every staff and every like training medical staff and say, is there anything that's happened under my nose in the last couple of years since I've been here? Because please tell me now, because it's very tough to survive, all this now. So. It's tough, but yeah, I think the president AD should definitely be fired for all this. They handle horribly.
I think it should be fired. You made a great point. Any head coach, I don't care how successful you are. I don't care if you're Nick Saban. I don't care if you're Curry. Be smart. Should be talking about what's going on in the program. Because let me tell you, if this was happening in Alabama and Georgia, I think Saban, I think Kirby Smart are fired. Let's be honest. I think Saban and Kirby Smart are fired because this is intolerated. This hazing stuff is not tolerated in this society anymore. It's not tolerated. So if this stuff was happening in those programs, I bet those guys would be fired as well. I know that you think, just because you think it's more because of the record. But I think if it's happening in those programs, I think they'd be fired too.
I agree. They should probably, if there's evidence that they knew and all that, then yeah, the right thing is probably to fire them. But because they're winning, I'm like, look, you brought up Kirby Smart. There's been, since January, there's been 12, 13 guys that have been, pulled over for speeding ticket, just something related to, speeding, stuff like that. And I know Kirby's trying to fix it. I know he brought in a state trooper to kind of talk to his team about the dangers of all that. Again, we saw a situation what happened in January, but like, he's not getting pushback for all this. I think since he's got there's been like 25 guys that have gotten tickets and all this. Like, it's kind of been under, but like if Kirby was 7-5, this would be a more regarded and you'd hear about it more. So I see your point, but I feel like if you're winning, all this in college sports, it's hush hush until.
Unfortunately, I think I get your point. It's hush hush until you start losing. And Northwestern was 1-11, and then that definitely probably led to the reason why with all this that they fired Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Because I feel like if he went 10-3 last year, they give that guy, because again, Northwestern has the money. They got the money. I feel like they could have. I know the whistleblower wanted to fire, but I feel like $15 million. I don't think anybody's turning that down. I think he probably, whoever it was, would have accepted that. But that's it's corrupt, but it ain't changing. It's from the top up. It's up from the NCAA.
Exactly.
They're corrupt as most teams.
Exactly. So we're going to wrap up with two topics. First, we're going to start with Victor Wembanyama in Summer League. First performance was not that good, but second performance was definitely better. I think the thing about him is there's a lot of hype with him. He may not be an all-star his first year. I think he needs to get stronger. I think he needs to become a better three-point shooter, and I think he needs to take more control of the game. That's what I think with him. But I do think he's in the right spot with Greg Popovich where he will reach his potential.
Yeah, I think he will. Again, he's 19. He's just come over for a different country. I had 2 or 3 practices with these guys. Yeah, the first game was not great, but the game 2 he looked a lot better. You could see he looked a lot more comfortable. So yeah, I'm not worried about him. Don't overreact. Not overreacting to it. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. And I think he'll be fine. I think under Pop, I think he'll get to the potential. Again, the big question, and it was during the draft night, is he's just got to put on a lot. He's got to put on weight, and durability. But if he can do that, he'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll wrap up the show talking about the Jets being on Hard Knocks today. It was announced the Jets will be on Hard Knocks. I think this is going to be really entertaining with Aaron Rodgers being on Hard Knocks. I think this is going to be really entertaining. And this might be the best Hard Knocks since Rex was on it back in 2010. So I think it's going to be really entertaining watching Aaron Rodgers on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I know the Jets didn't want it be on there, but the Jets will be very entertaining to watch them, and a team that's looking to grow, looking to get to the playoffs first time in decades. So yeah, they'll be fun to watch.
When was the last question? When was the last time they made the playoffs?
2012-13. Yeah, they knocked out the Patriots, didn't they? That was
2010.
It's been that long.
And guess what they had? Guess who was on Hard Knocks that year?
The Jets.
Yes. So hey, maybe now, maybe the Hard Knocks year. Maybe they end up going back to the playoffs. We'll see if they do. But either way, it's going to be really, really entertaining to watch the Jets on Hard Knocks. It's going to be really entertaining.
Yeah, it absolutely will. They'll be fun to watch, and that team. Coach Solid seems like a very animated guy. So yeah, it'll be fun watching him as well on that show.
Absolutely. So that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Alfredo, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about Saquon Barkley and the franchise tag deadline in the NFL. That's going to be big. We'll know if Saquon is got a new deal or if he'll be playing if he will be probably playing on the franchise tag. We'll talk about the Yankees and Red Sox and any NBA news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.